Hey, we're going to do a quick video here on variation. Crash course, there are two types. There are direct and inverse, sometimes called indirect. Direct variation, you've got two variables. As one goes up, so does the other. Or as one goes down, so does the other. So more than likely, the number of hours you study, as it increases, so does your grade, right? Inverse variation, as one variable goes up, the other goes down, or the other way. As one goes down, the other goes up. So the number of hours you watch TV decreases the likelihood that you're going to get good grades in math class, for example. Okay? Now, there's a formula for each one of these. The direct variation formula is this, and the indirect is this. K is a classic oxymoron. K stands for the constant of variation. So constant means no change, variation means change, so it's an oxymoron. But what it means is that y and x are related, and as x changes, y changes by this amount every single time. So the change is the same every single time. It's basically slope. Okay? Now, the tricky part about these problems is a lot of times the problem will not ask you to find k, the value of k, but you have to in order to answer the question. So let's try two. I'm going to make these up off the top of my head, so hopefully they're not too complicated. It says, one will say, for example, say y varies directly. Often it might say, instead of varies directly, it might say is directly proportional. Okay, so directly proportional to x, or it might say with x. It'll say something like when y is 10, x is, we'll make this one simple, 5. Then it'll say find y when x is 4, and it might say find x when y is 8, something like that. Okay, so here's what you got to do. It says directly, that means that we're going to be using this formula. So y equals kx. The tricky part again is if we can't answer these directly without first figuring out what the constant of variation is. So in other words, how are these related? What's the scale? So anyway, all you got to do is plug in what you're given. Y is 10, x is 5, solve that, 2, k is 2. So here's our formula for this problem. Y equals 2 times x. So y is twice as big as x, which makes sense if x is 5 and y is 10. So now it says find y when x is 4. So that would be 8. So our first answer is 8. Second one says, oh, well, should be pretty obvious. That better be 4. So I'm going to change this. Let's make this 22. So now find x when y is 22. So 22 equals, k was 2 times x, just divide 11. Okay, now the other one is a little bit trickier, inverse. Okay, so here's our formula for inverse. So it'll say y varies inversely with x, and maybe when y is 7, x is 2. And then let's see, let's do part A. Let's say find y when x is 28. And let's do this one. Let's say find x when y is 1. Okay, so let's try these here. So first thing first, we're going to start with our formula. Y equals k divided by x. So it says y is 7 when x is 2. We have to solve this. K is being divided by 2, so the inverse of that would be to multiply. So k is 14. So here's our formula. 14 divided by x. Part 1. Part A, it says find y when x is 28. So it looks to me like that's 1/2. So the first answer is 1/2. Now it says find x when y is 1. Alright. Without doing any shortcuts here, look, this one's a little tricky because you're dividing by the thing you need to know. You could do this the way a lot of people teach cross multiply. The problem with that is if this was just a little bit different, like for example, if it was 1 equals 14 over x plus 2, then you wouldn't be able to cross multiply. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to multiply both sides by x. See, like this. These x's reduce, they make 1, so you're left with x equals 14. Well, I hope that helped. Please leave comments, ask questions, and please subscribe. Good luck. Have a good day.